Hello, everybody. Here we are again. And I want to say hi to everybody. Hello to Jax. His whole name is Jackson, as he knows, and some of you know. Jackson, that was a fun trip to Fort Knox yesterday. I'm glad it happened. And along with Jax, I would say hi to Matthew, Marjorie, and Emma, all here in Maine. To Malia and Lucas in Missouri. To Kai Ming and Rukai, hello, in Washington State. Hello to Hope, here in Maine. Hi, Hope. And Dylan in Maine, and Lucas in Maine. Good friends Leslie and Mary over in England. To Ezzy and Indy in Oklahoma. To Kayla here in Maine. Hi, Kayla. To Sylvia, Macy, and Lillian in Maine. To Harper and Judson here in Maine. Caden and Xander in Maine. Evangeline and Isaac in Rhode Island. And hello to Mabel way off in China in the Far East. And hi to Oliver, Madeline, and Wyatt out west in the USA. Hi, everybody. Now, today, as you remember, let's see now, we've read Old Granny Fox. We just finished The Adventures of Grandfather Frog. And now we'll begin Mrs. Peter Rabbit. This is an old book by, again, same man, Thornton W. Burgess. Okay, let's see here now. Chapter 1 is entitled, just like the book, Mrs. Peter Rabbit. And the title of the chapter is Peter Rabbit Loses His Appetite. There's a little saying here from Peter Rabbit. Good appetite, you'll always find, depends upon your state of mind. That's something to think about for all of us, I guess. Peter Rabbit had lost his appetite. Now, when Peter Rabbit loses his appetite, something is very wrong indeed with him. Peter has boasted that he can eat anytime and all the time. In fact, the two things that Peter thinks most about are his stomach and satisfying his curiosity. And nearly all of the scrapes that Peter's gotten into have been because of those two things. So when Peter loses his appetite or his curiosity, there is surely something the matter with him. I bet there is, don't you? Ever since Old Man Coyote had come to live on the Green Meadows, Peter had been afraid to go very far from the dear old briar patch, where he makes his home, where he always feels safe. Now, there wasn't any reason why he should go far from the dear old briar patch. There was plenty to eat in it, and all around it, for sweet clover grew almost up to the very edge of it. And you know Peter is very fond of sweet clover. Oh, rabbits are too. So there was plenty for Peter to eat without running any risk of danger. With nothing to do but eat and sleep, Peter should have grown fat and contented, but he didn't. Now that is just the way with a lot of people. The more they have, and the less they have to worry about, the more discontented they become. And at last they are positively unhappy. There was little Danny Meadow Mouse living out on the Green Meadows. He was happy all the livelong day, and yet he had no safe castle like the dear old briar patch, where he could always be safe. Every minute of every day, Danny had to keep his eyes wide open and his wits working their very quickest. For any minute, he was likely to be in danger. Old Man Coyote, or Reddy Fox, or Granny Fox, or Digger the Badger, or Mr. Blacksnake was likely to come creeping through the grass any time. They are always hungry for a fat meadow mouse. And as if that weren't worry enough, Danny had to watch the sky too, for old Whitetail the Mashhawk, or his cousin Redtail, or Blacky the Crow. Each of them would be glad of a meadow mouse dinner. Yet in spite of all this, Danny was happy and never once lost his appetite. But Peter Rabbit, with nothing to worry him so long as he stayed in the old briar patch, couldn't eat and grew more and more unhappy. I don't know what's the matter with me. I really don't know what's the matter with me, said Peter, as he turned up his nose at a patch of sweet, tender young clover. Wow. I think I'll go out and cut some new paths through the old briar patch. Now, though he didn't know it, that was the very best thing he could do. It gave him something to think about. For 2 or 3 days, he was very busy cutting new paths, and his appetite came back. But when he had made all the paths he wanted, there was nothing else to do, he lost his appetite again. He just sat still all day long and moped and thought and thought and thought. The trouble with Peter's thinking was that it was all about himself and how unhappy he was. Of course, the more he thought about this, the more unhappy he grew. If I only had someone to talk to, I'd feel better, said he to himself. That reminded him of Johnny Chuck and what good times they used to have together when Johnny lived on the Green Meadows. Then he thought of how happy Johnny seemed to be with his little family in his new home in the old orchard, in spite of all the worries his family made him. And right then Peter found out what was the matter with him. I believe I'm just lonesome, said Peter. Yes, sir, that's what's the matter with me. And here's a little poem. I think it's by Peter Rabbit. It isn't good to be alone, I've often heard my mother say. It makes one selfish, grouchy, cross, and quite unhappy all the day. One needs to think of other folks, and not of just oneself alone, to find the truest happiness and joy and real content to own. That's pretty good, huh? Now that I've found out what is the trouble with me, the question is, what am I going to do about it? I think, yes, that's the end of chapter 1. We'll read chapter 2 coming up soon, probably tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.